Beautiful day. Going to the park to enjoy a day together with her best friend. We have Abby and Lily, a 13 and 14-year-old girl. Abby being 13, Lily being 14. Sister's getting ready for her day of work. The two little girls want to go to the park and enjoy their day because it's a beautiful day from day off of school. Sister says, I'll drop you off down at the park, which is High Ridge Trail. It's called the High Bridge. So the sister drops them off, says we'll meet back, and I'll pick you guys up. Two little girls enjoying their day, talking things that little girls talk about, the future of life, what's happening, just not a worry in the world. They're living in a small town in Indiana, Monheim, population of 3,000 people. So when you're in a town of 3,000 people, you can actually think you can trust your kids to go out and be okay. But no, we can't. So Abby and Lily are enjoying their day on the high bridge, taking their walk in the park, not realizing that this day is going to be the worst thing that can ever happen. So as they're walking and enjoying their day, the alleged killer approaches them, Richard Allen. And now the girls, you can just imagine how scared they are. And the alleged killer, Richard Allen, is caught on one of the little girl's cell phones, Lily's. She was able to catch a snapshot of him and some audio of him saying, come on, guys, down here. So here we are, then, girls, enjoying a beautiful day at the High Trail Ridge. It's called the High Bridge. Beautiful, beautiful park where there's other kids dropped off, playing, having a good time. But little did they know, there's a predator, an evil predator. Because these little girls never thought that day that they were going to run into a man that had such evil in him. These little girls suffered so bad. Their throats were cut, their bodies were left in a satanic ritual positions to where he laid twigs on their bodies in certain positions of some type of a cult, ritualistic killing, an animal. One of the girls' clothing was switched onto the other girl's clothing. The other little girl's clothing was still put on top of the other little girl's clothing. One had no clothes on. Their bodies were set in a position of a satanic cultural position. It was a cult. So now the parents, the kids had never made it back to the checkpoint to be picked up. Parents are going crazy, as we all would. Comes dark, they call the police. So now the cops are called. They don't find the kids till the next day. They're finding a symbol of it, looks like an F on the sign in blood. Again, a ritualistic cult symbol. Still, the girls are in the woods, left, laying there in a position that's unbearable in belief. Throats cut, and these twigs left on them in some position that nobody knows. So now I have the tape I'm going to share with you guys. And let's see.
bridge. You had all of that.
We have this particular on video. We see his face, voice. He says, down the hill. It's all right there.
You had all of that. And still, we wait. We wait. And we wait.
The police are constantly asked, why hasn't this case been solved? Why haven't they figured this out?
This guy could strike again. It could be your kid. It happened to our family. I don't want it to happen to anybody else.
That person, we're standing here right now. What do you say to that person?
Why? Son of a bitch. Why?
Why?
That's what I say.
I think in 2017, Delphi was the safest place any of us felt like we could be. We would leave our doors unlocked, we didn't have security systems.
This is small town USA. You know, this is where you go visit grandma and grandpa, your uncle, small businesses, restaurants, a great community to raise a family.
Everybody says hi, throws a wave up, you know, always willing to stop and help somebody out. That's just the way it is.
In this small, friendly, welcoming community, we have two teenage girls, Abby Williams and Libby German.
They were good friends. They had the same interests in music and arts, had played volleyball together. She loved helping other people, being around, assisting her nieces, playing games and drawing and art and being creative. And music was very important to her also. She was working on the piano and she learned how to play the saxophone. She and her aunt used to have their little jam sessions in the house. It was terrible, but they certainly enjoyed it.
This is a quilt that we had made that tells a little bit of Libby's life. Libby wanted to try everything. She wasn't afraid of anything except the dark. She was very giving, very stick up for the underdog.
We were inseparable. We were always together. We pretty much did everything together.
They had so much promise. They were athletes. They were artists. They were things they were going to do.
Everything was normal up till February the 13th, 2017.
It was a beautiful day that the girls said, you know what? Let's hang out together. BFFs. They went out for a walk. The old Monon High Bridge, the miles of trails that go through the parks. This is part of their history, part of who they are.
There were tons of kids out there that day because, well, it was unseasonably nice. And it was, hey, we're out of school, can we go?
I was getting ready for work, and Libby busts open the bathroom door, as in just sitting there, getting ready. And she says, hey, can we go to Highbridge today? The moment I dropped them off, Libby got out of the car and turned around and told me she loved me. And just knowing that those were the last, one of the most helpful things to me.
It was supposed to be just a normal walk on the trail, and they went to go pick them up. A couple hours later, they never showed up.
Becky tried to call and wasn't getting any response, so she called me probably about 4 o'clock or so in the afternoon, and she said, hey, can't get a hold of Libby. I said, all right, let me pack up here and I'll head that way. Just walking up and down trails, trying to look and hollering and yelling, and of course we were getting no response, and she said, it's starting to get dark, let's think we ought to call the police, so I did.
My first thought was that I was going to kick my sister's butt when I found her, because this wasn't something that she'd ever done.
They were grounded as soon as we found them and they got home. That we didn't think the worst. We didn't nowhere near think the worst.
And the whole evening, just as it progressed, the sense of urgency kept going.
Unbelievable.
Probably
Could
9
you
o'clock
imagine
at
this?
night, Delphi, you could see flashlights all over Delphi. Every alley, every road, somebody was walking somewhere looking. And it just continued all night.
Police, neighbors, in vehicles, everywhere, helicopter everyone was out looking for these young girls. You still had hope. you know?
Definitely.
But then
Sure.
Friday the 14th, after the noon hour, we got the word. The bodies were found. That was not the news that anyone was expecting.
I had a friend that ran up to me and said her husband called her and that they found the girls, but she wouldn't say anything more. So we got to the trailhead and I ran up to a fireman and said, you need to take me to Libby. She's been out all night. She's gonna need me. I saw the coroner's van go by. And that's when it hit. She's not hurt and waiting for us. That's when I realized.
Any loss of life is horrific. I think the part that really struck a nerve is when we're told that this is part of a criminal investigation. A crime has been committed.
This is considered a double homicide investigation. No further information will be released at this time.
That changes the tone. That's an act of evil.
Now we know that we have a murder mystery on our hands and the entire country is watching.
The police have gotten thousands of tips in this case. And then, all of a sudden, we have an image of a potential suspect.
Here he is, Delphi.
There he is on the phone.
Here he is, community.
From one of the little girls.
Here he is, America. That's the guy. Can you find the guy?
And before long, you actually hear his voice.
And so there was a hope.
Guys, down the hill, he says.
An anticipation that someone's going to call and say, we have the guy. The call never came.
I mean, I'm figure, okay, tomorrow, next day, we're going to get this guy. Here we are 5 years later.
And then in December, authorities investigating Delphi murders put out a call for new information. They're looking into a social media account with the handle @Anthony_shots. They say it's filled with stolen pictures of a male model.
And I'm thinking,
Another level now.
what is going on?
Another level.
Anthony_shots. What is this about?
That's generated a tremendous number of leads for us, and that's as far as I can go.
When this special edition of Nightline returns, 5 years after the murders in Delphi, will the killer ever be found?
How close are we?
Today could be
on the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more video highlights and watch.
So there we go, people. Unbelievable video. Unbelievable. So now, Richard Allen, who is being held in prison, not to be released. He's in a 6 by 10 cell, sleeping on a pad on a concrete floor, only allowed to shower 1 to 2 times per week, required to wear the same clothing, including underwear for days that are soiled, stained, tarred, and torn. No opportunity for Allen to visit his wife or family. He hasn't visited him in over 5 months. His electronic tablet he uses to call his family members is monitored by their prison members every single time he uses it. He's offered little recreational time, limited information held for the attorney provided to him. So they're holding this guy pretty much what he should deserve right now. No special treatment. But now we know for a fact he did not do this alone. Even going back to the evidence of knowing you didn't take these little girls alone. Somebody was helping you. Especially in the organization that he was involved in, a cult. So now the evidence is up to another level with the information they found on his cell phone. But we have no information, no media. This is being sealed and held because now in January, he goes to trial. And this is going to be this is opened wide open now. And this brings the family to go back to the suffering right to the beginning. And nothing against the family members. My heart bleeds for them. Trust me. Myself and my family suffered through almost the same thing back when I was a child. So I know how it feels. But you don't, town of 3,000, doesn't matter. You always have bad somewhere. You don't leave. I would never have my kids in a park anywhere. You got to always watch your children today because there's maniacs everywhere, everywhere. And all it takes is that one and that one time. And in February 2017, Libby and Abby faced that time. And their life was so short. Johnny Gunn's investigation. It's Monday. Sorry about all the technical difficulties, but I'm working through that. We'll be back every night, 7 o'clock, bringing thrilling news. Tomorrow is the case going back to the All Children's Hospital, the Mia case. This thing's been going on forever. They want $200 million. So let's see where that goes. So everybody, enjoy your night and be safe out there. Good night.